Hello, this is the budget attachment by the Center for Fiscal Equity on the budget process. So the federal budget process is broken and we need a new one that allows for agreement on broad issues and a continuation of government while the details and controversies at the programmatic level are worked out by the appropriations committees of both houses. The solution must include incentives to keep the process moving. To achieve compromise earlier, we recommend a permanent joint budget committee draft a joint budget resolution to be enacted by a date certain to avoid reverting to the budget caps. This will provide both expedited process and likely early involvement of the White House, who would release detailed appropriation requests only after the JBR is passed. A 2-year process is suggested to make sure things happen on time. The JBR would trigger automatic appropriations at the beginning of the fiscal year with detailed appropriation marks at the same proportionate levels as the current services budget. If no JBR is passed, then the marks in the Budget Control Act of 2011, as amended, of course, would have the same force, allowing automatic appropriations in the same manner as described for a joint budget resolution. This tie to the BCA is not to be used, and it should not be if Congress operates bipartisanly under effective leadership. If that leadership breaks down, meaning no more Hastert rule, open rules in the House, consent agreements in the Senate that actually allow amendments with some reasonable process for clearing them, of course, and maybe clearance by the committee or ranking member of the relevant who's managing the bill, just to be debated, of course. But if leadership breaks down, we need something like this. Now, I have a whole list in the written attachment that is a lot of gobbledygook, but it explains how we got to where we are, and how the Bush tax cuts were extended for all but the upper 2% of households. It might have even been the 1% by that time, and everybody else got their cut. That was from a quirk in the 2012. Actually, it was actually was in the 2013, the American Tax Relief Act, and of course the Tax Cut and Jobs Act passed with no concern for long-term balance, and this was reinforced by the Balanced Budget Act of 2018, and further legislation in 2019. It's been going on, and the TCJA. Again, suddenly deficits weren't a problem. So the Joint Select Committee co-chairman at the time for budget process reform commented in her opening statement that the BCA 2011 marks were too low, and that this leads to an inability to pass appropriations bills. Automatic appropriations would end this difficulty and spur action by both parties. Because the BCA levels are too low, the marks in the Act could be increased by the legislation introducing the new process. They should be realistic, not punitive. Part of any reform must include new caps be set not only to 2025, which is almost upon us, but for however any temporary tax legislation occurs, or a 10-year period. Just do something, because right now a lot of nothing can pass, or a lot of nothing doesn't pass except at the last minute, and that's no way to run the government. As somebody who's been a program control person, which is basically a budget analyst at the program office level, and as a contract specialist. And as somebody who's worked in DC government at the highest levels, waiting for a budget to be enacted after the fiscal year is just, it's madness. It means stuff the people's will doesn't get done in a timely fashion. It means that strange things happen at the end of the fiscal year to spend all the money. It's just not good. And that's what anybody in business will tell you. You've got to, know your budget, as soon as you can and plan for it expeditiously. And that is this attachment. Thank you for listening, and this will be used from time to time. Have a good day.